Hey everyone, welcome back. And today I'm going to be doing what if America has another civil war. So, with the things happening in America right now, it's it's crazy with the protesting and with everything else happening in the world. So, what if things go too far and they just decide to break apart? So right then and there, every state gets independence and break away from the Union. And then with this, we see that over here in the north, Canada sees this as an advantage and it starts advancing into Alaska, eventually annexing it all. And then Russia was about to annex it, but Canada beat it to it. So, with Canada no longer surrounded by the America, Canada can now be free, I guess? Like, go or more coast area into this ocean. I think it was the Pacific? Anyways, but so technically all 49 states, or let's just make that 48 states. Hawaii sank into the ocean, so now there's only 48 states in America left. So, with these happening, we see Texas and I think it was it was Oklahoma, and then I'm not positive what are the states 100%, but I think it was Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia, reforming the Confederate States of America. I'm not 100% if those were the states, but if those weren't the states, then I guess new states got added in, and then it's a new union. So, with the Confederate States all reforming back, we see some more unions forming in. And that is over here in the West. So we see Washington and Oregon deciding to form a union together, and then they decide to annex Idaho as well. And then over here, we see that Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona decides to form a union. And I guess might as well throw in Nevada. And throw in California. So with this, we see 3 unions already. The Confederate States, these 2 new unions. I guess this one will be California, and this one will be Washington. So, over here, in the north, we see another union being formed. We see the New England Union in Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. And then, might as well throw in New York. Even though it's not in New England, we'll just throw it in there. So with New York being, I guess, in control of this region, we see some major alliances form. And those alliances are Montana, North and South Dakota, Wyoming, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. And then we also see another alliance being formed. If I could get it in, there we go. And then the next one would be New England, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and West Virginia. So, with those alliances, it would start to be a little bit more difficult invading. So, Texas or the Confederate States starts to see this and trying to reform the old America under any different government. So with this, they declare war on Kansas and Missouri. And with those two being fairly weak, they storm in, taking over Missouri and then soon Kansas. And then right then and there, they declare war on Iowa and Nebraska. And then they start to storm in, and then taking over Iowa and then Nebraska. And the yellow team sees this, seeing that they could have taken over those countries. So in anger, they declare war on the Confederate States. So right then and there, with the troops already stationed, they start to go in, capturing Wyoming and then South Dakota. And then capturing Wisconsin, Wisconsin surrenders, Minnesota surrenders. And then both Dakota surrender, leaving just Montana, and then Montana sues for peace. So let's look at the peace treaty. So here's the peace treaty. We see full annexation of that union, making let's just call this Texas. So the new Confederate States now become under any Texas ruled government. So with Texas becoming independent, Mexico sees this and declares war on Texas. And that was a mistake, as they start to enter. They capture Baja California, and then when Mexico sues for peace, let's look at the peace treaty. So here's the peace treaty. We see Mexico losing their northern border, and the Texas border grew into two, with them having Baja California. So with this, California and Washington decides to form a union, and then eventually they form the alliance. But then later they discovered that it was best to decide to merge. So with California now governing this whole entire area, right here, they decide to start leaning towards New York. And then eventually they all become a union, as Pennsylvania joins, then New Jersey, Maryland, and then they start going east to west. And then eventually, as all of the states start entering the Green Union, or into New York, and then these three are the powerful states in the US: New York, Texas, and California. So with these three already, Texas is already dominating, but with these three becoming economically powerful, I guess, these two, California and New York, decided to come together and form an alliance. And then eventually, Texas decides to declare war on them. And then eventually, they get dragged into the war. And then soon, the North Michigan falls. And then they start putting their troops more focused into New York. Into what was New York, by putting the troops down into South Michigan, start advancing. And then from Wisconsin, they start to push down, and then capturing what was Illinois and then Indiana. Soon, they start to link up, and then now as one front. They capture what was Washington, D.C., and then soon, they capture all of them. And then with California seeing this as any advantage, they start to advance as much as they can before the Texans arrive back at their border. So with this, California takes all of this area and all of what they have in Mexico. And then eventually, Austin is being threatened So, with the troops coming back over to the Texas mainland, they start to push the Californians out of their territory, and then soon they start any pushback into here. And then with this, Texas starts an invasion, and now it's back into a stalemate as California takes back Baja California, and now it's to a stalemate. And then a few years later go by, and then it's time for a peace treaty. So let's go ahead and look what they decide to do. So here's the peace treaty. We see that the front line has been pushed deeply into California, with them already losing their New York piece. But they do manage to get Baja California, and they do manage to keep their Washington, Oregon, a little bit of Idaho, Arizona, and Nevada territories, plus this Baja California. And then with the Texans still keeping their Mexican territory, and then their the Montana Union, I guess. And then they managed to make the Confederacy back into Texas, and then unable to unite the whole entire American continent, they are able to sustain from enemies. And then soon there is no winner versus California and Texas. And then with Hawaii in the ocean and Alaska being annexed by Canada, here is what the new America is. Hopefully y'all liked the video, and I'll see you on the next one.